Cost of living.
Jesus.
Well,
You jump right into it. You ain't even
yeah.
say hi or nothing yet. That
Just
kind of
get
time.
to the point.
Whoa. Hi, we're Joshua and Kumi. We've been living around the world, often moving to a different country every few months.
Oh, very good.
Gathering information to help you on your journey of world living. We're here in Turkey for the last 2 months on the move, exploring this beautiful country. Thinking about moving to Turkey? Okay then, let us help you make an executive decision that best works for your budget.
No comment.
What's up? Today we are back again with another
Cost of living in Turkey.
in Turkey this time. We'll jump straight into it.
So, we lived in Turkey for almost 2 months now. We have visited how many places? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different locations in Turkey.
If you know anything about us, we do not just come to a country and we go to one spot or two popular spots. We try to go to as many places that we can in a country before we leave. That's just how we do things.
You're gonna have to have your PCR negative result to get into Turkey.
Oh, I thought-
And some of you might need the visa, like Americans.
A good thing is actually what we use sometimes when we travel. It's called iVisa. You can actually check out our link in the description below. So if you just go to iVisa and you give them your nationality, where you're going, they already do the background and they find out what are the requirements to get into the country. It just makes it so much easier for you. And if you don't have passport pictures, they also assist with you getting passport pictures, which is very convenient sometimes when you're somewhere and you have no clue where to go. This is a company we've used and it's very helpful and convenient.
And as soon as you arrive, we recommend to get the SIM card for your cell phone as soon as possible.
You should just do that any country you're
Any
in.
country.
Turkey is okay to get at the airport. Some is just more affordable to get in the city or wherever you're staying around that area than it is to get in. Pay an extra few bucks just to have that peace of mind and not leave the airport without having a connection.
The ones we got, the SIM card and the 30 days data package, was about 230 Turkish lira. You can also sign up for HES code, which is a requirement for you to carry around with your cell phone. It's got the QR code and track you where you went.
Some of the stores require to scan your HES code, especially the malls. So this isn't something you can skip if you really want to be out and about in Turkey. This is a requirement and you need to do it, period. Download the app named HES and apply and get your HES code. It's very simple. You don't have to pay anything. Bang, bang, done. So that actually brings us over to transportation. You don't want to take taxis everywhere you go. It's not expensive actually, depending where you want to travel. It's normally just a few bucks within the city. Also because there's a lot of traffic, so the meters run a little longer. It's extremely convenient just to use public transportation. It's so affordable, especially if you want to take the iconic ferry ride. This is crazy views. Holy shit. This is epic. From Asia to Europe, you need that card. You need the transportation card and you also need your HES code.
You cannot pay by cash at the moment because of COVID. So you're going to have the card. But the card is very reasonable. We bought 50 Turkish lira with the card and the top up inclusive. So I think we had about 43 Turkish lira to spend on public transport. And I believe the card itself was 7 lira.
Where you can get your card, you can either go down to the subway area, which they have the machines that you can select and buy your card, or you can go to some of these little shops or mini marts on the street corners and you can purchase a card there as well.
From the airport to the Taksim Square or another central location in Istanbul, please use the bus.
And it's only 24 Turkish lira, which means like 2 euros per person.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's comfortable because you got to remember the taxis are taking the same routes the buses are taking, and it's not like the buses make a whole bunch of stops. If you're in a taxi or the bus, you're going to be stuck in traffic, period. So you'd rather be stuck in traffic on a comfortable bus that was actually way more cheaper than sitting in the back seat of a taxi that's way more expensive. And the buses at the airport run every 20 minutes. So when you come out of the airport, you just walk across the street and you'll see all the buses, and then you can just ask people as well.
So this airport shuttle HES code is not required. So if somehow you cannot get your SIM card, don't worry, you don't need the HES code to take this bus. Riding taxi in Istanbul is actually very easy.
The app that you should download for getting taxis is called Buy Taxi. And then you just download that, sign up, and it's just like Uber or any of these other apps you use in all these other countries. The taxi drivers are very good, they're very prompt, and they do drive a little fast. Be aware, all of them, every single one we ever got into drove fast, but they weren't reckless. They were just fast.
And even if you're not using the app, you can always pay by your credit card. All the taxis in Istanbul, they had a credit card machine.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's so convenient sometimes. Obviously, no matter where you are in any country, if you hop in a taxi driver that has a meter and they're saying they're not using the meter, it's this flat fee, get the hell out that taxi. Or tell them, run this damn meter, or I'm leaving. It's kind of hard in Cappadocia sometimes because it is very spread out and there's not just taxi drivers available everywhere you go. But don't ever get into a taxi that doesn't want to run their meter, because that means they're trying to play you. But we also are big on the electrical scooters. That's our vibe. It's so cool. It's such a wonderful way to view the city at your own pace. And there's a lot of traffic jams in Turkey, and especially in Istanbul. And when you are on the app that we used is called Marty, and there were several different ones as well around, but we downloaded them and it was a hassle. Marty was the best one for us, at least. And it just, you cut through all the traffic, you just stay on the sidewalk, you normally by the coast, you know, you always buy water, you're by a river or something, and it's just such a convenient way to get around the city. It's a little more than the taxi because you have to pay to activate it and then pay to ride it. But, and like I said, it's just, it's fun.
It's really fun.
It's really fun.
And this whole time we were in Istanbul, we just rent one scooter and I hop on in front of him and he's the one driving.
So if you're a couple, you can just rent one scooter and hop on it. And that's not just tourists doing that. You see locals doing that all the time. It's just a normal thing.
Police never stop you.
So it's not against the law or anything to do that. So yeah, couples just rent one scooter and just ride it together.
Internet and Wi-Fi speed is not so reliable if you're working online.
It can be. It really honestly just depends on where you go. The best thing to do, make sure the owner does the check and shows you a screenshot on the speed at the place. Because we've had some places where it's in a good location, but the internet speed is extremely low. And for some people that might not be a problem, but for us as digital nomads, it is a requirement. So it can suck if you book somewhere for a month and then you realize they have extremely shitty internet.
The backup plan could be hotspot on your cell phone. I always had that as a plan B. Food and beverage. We were in Taksim. It's like the center of all the tourists want to visit Taksim. You can find really cheap food to decent, nice restaurants.
Depends where you are. If you are in Taksim, anything normal street food, just automatically double it. But outside Taksim, or especially on the Asia side, you can find very good street food, very affordable donors, and all those other things you want to try when you're here in Turkey.
For example, the cement bagel That's like 2 Turkish lira, super affordable. And we went to that 200 years Piraf place in Asia side. That was 30 Turkish lira. And that was big enough for us to share together. The Turkish breakfast.
Actually, that's good.
That's good, huh?
Yeah.
I think it was a little more fancy.
At other places, it's probably cheaper than what we paid.
And it was 140 Turkish lira for 2. It was a beautiful breakfast.
But I don't think you should get too caught up with trying to find a cheap Turkish breakfast because it's very one of a kind.
And a little more expensive, that means they do more homemade jam, homemade this and that, and it's very, very unique. So don't hesitate to pay extra for that. The balik drum, a fresh mackerel, grilled mackerel inside.
Yeah.
That's like 18 Turkish lira.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect snack if you're walking around or you're a little hungry, munchy, and you just grab one.
You really pay for the experience in a lot of it. Like what we just did was you go into the fish market, you see what they have, you pick the fish, and then you walk around the corner to the restaurant and they cook it right there in front of you. How cool is that, right? You just go pick whatever you want and bring it to these guys right here and they'll fry it up or grill it, whatever you ask for.
It was alive just now.
It's a really cool experience. I've never had that anywhere else. I'm sure that's in a lot of other countries as well, but it's really cool there because it's right on the river. So you have the mosques, the boats, you have the sound of the prayer. It's very unique.
Alcohol?
I'm the drinker. She's not really the drinker. Alcohol can be expensive at bars and stuff like that. It's a few Turkish lira cheaper if you just get it at the store. I think alcohol normally was about like
20 Turkish lira to 25 Turkish lira per bottle of craft beer. You have to talk about raki.
Yeah, raki is that's very affordable. Comes clear, but they pour water in it that turns it into like a cloudy white drink, and it's very cool. It tastes like licorice to me, like
Anise is inside.
black licorice.
Anise.
Is that what it's called? Anise.
Anise.
Anise. Got it.
The long distance buses.
There's some good views, I'll tell you that. There really are some good views. It's best, I would recommend, if you can take the daytime ones, because the nighttime, they're cool as well, but I like to see things, because I don't sleep well on anything long distance. So I like to have views, and Turkey is a very beautiful country. There's a lot to see, for sure.
For example, the Istanbul to Denizli, when we went to Pamukkale, that was 230 Turkish lira per person. And that was about 9 hours bus ride.
From what our friends were saying and telling us, it is the safest one to take because of the company's regulations and their bus drivers are all good.
So the bus company is called Pamukkale.
We'll put the link in the description of the bus company that we took. And
it's actually the whole bus booking website. It's not only Pamukkale bus, but you can see all the buses available from one place to the other and compare the prices, compare what the amenities that comes with it, and the stops as well.
And just pick what works best for you on your travels.
And you can pay by credit card. Grocery shopping. There are so many supermarkets around and less farmers market. So the fresh vegetables we bought from the shop and then pretty much everything else from the supermarket. I would say Istanbul the price was slightly higher and everywhere else was an okay price. Tours. When we went to Hagia Sophia, which was another UNESCO World Heritage Site, and this place had such a long history that you would probably want to hire a guide.
We met this
cool
cool historian guy who's gonna show us around and give us the actual history so we know. This guy was so on point and he made it was fun, you know, we were laughing with him. And we had a really good time. We were very lucky that we found that guy. a lot of like Hagia Sophia, or what's the other one we went on top of the hill?
Süleymaniye.
Remember that these are open 24/7. So we recommend going there. We actually went on a date night where we took the scooters and we went around to the mosques late at night, around like midnight. There's barely anybody there. All these mosques are beautifully lit and it's just so quiet inside. You have to do it because that's when you see how truly beautiful it is because everything is lit up.
And nobody inside. Highly, highly recommended.
We're not big on tours really unless there's certain things that require it to be a tour. We're all about self-touring. It makes it so much more cheaper. You don't need a tour guide to go to Pamukkale at all. We spent like 5 Turkish lira for the public bus and just dropped us off right in front of Pamukkale, the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And instead of taking a tour and doing all this and spending 80 to plus Turkish lira, there's just really no need for all that. But in places like Cappadocia, where you do the hot air balloon or the ATVs, that's when you have to go on a tour.
ATV tour was 35 euros per person. Some of those tour companies that always receive international guests, they show the prices in euros, not Turkish lira. That means you're paying
more
than you pay in Turkish lira.
Technically, it's a tricky way to make people pay more. That's one thing we don't like when we're in a country and you're going to do something and they talk to you in different currencies. We want to know how much it is in your country's currency because automatically, if they're talking in USD or euros, that means they're trying to charge you more. That's just the baseline. It's a fact. It's just a fact.
But when you go to Cappadocia, if you book a multiple tours from one company, and they might be able to give you a better deal. We used Cappadocia Adventure and Hilarious Tour. What was the company name?
Hilarious Agency.
Hilarious Tour Agency. We had a blast hanging out with them.
Yeah, they're very cool. It's run by a bunch of young locals and they showed us a lot. They actually showed us a lot. And we had a very good time. We felt comfortable with them.
ATV tour on the very first day in Cappadocia. That was awesome.
We do recommend if you go, they do require, and this doesn't matter which one you go with, they require you to ride in a line. And it's very dusty there. So make sure you bring shades. COVID times, it's good because everybody automatically has to wear a mask. But if you're here and it's not, the mask thing isn't a requirement, we recommend wearing a mask or a bandana, something to cover your face and cover your eyes because you're guaranteed going to be in a dust storm at some point of the ride. It's just a fact.
It's just you cannot avoid. We also did a hot air balloon with them.
We are at 1,000 meters above the ground right now, and it's gonna go up until 1,200.
Last but not least is the rent.
During these 2 months, we actually almost 90% of the time we used Airbnb. We tried to find the house that we can rent for 1 month, but in the end, this person was a real estate agent and she wanted the commission for like 20% of what we pay for the monthly fee on top of it. And we were like,
not happening.
Okay, no, let's not do that. And they asked for the utility bills on top of it too. And we found that it wasn't very affordable.
For us. I mean, if
For
you have a
us-
higher budget, okay.
Yeah, and also it made it super complicated. So to make it easier, we just rented through Airbnb. And Turkey is one of the only countries around the world that never closed the airport. And they did have a few lockdowns here and there, but the regulations are not so strict. So there are a lot of people coming in from overseas June, July, August, September, I think it is a high season, so the rent goes up.
This is a side note, a little trick that we do. We are off-season travelers because it is way more, everything is so much more affordable, drastically cheaper than visiting during the season. And there's less people, which is, as people who are introverted, that's really our vibe. We like less people. Off-season travel is a very good thing to think about because no matter where you want to go, it's always going to be way more affordable and you have way more negotiating power because there are not tourists around.
We would say the Istanbul European side or Asian side, Kadıköy, which is the main area of Asian side, is about the same price. And if you'd like to rent a 1-bedroom apartment, the price will be around $700 to $1,000.
If you're a solo traveler, you might be considering to rent out a room instead of a place, and that will bring you about $400 up. So it'll bring it down a little bit. Some people don't like to rent out rooms in places or they feel uncomfortable. But again, we are here during season, so things are way more higher. And that's why we say if you haven't come here or you are thinking of coming here, it might be best to come out of season because you can find your price if you're on a budget.
A 2-bedroom apartment will be $1,200 to $1,500 even.
Easy. Turkey should be on everybody's list. It's such a beautiful country. Where else in the world can you take a ferry ride and get to Europe and Asia? It's a must. It's a must. Alright, so one thing we definitely wanted to bring up is certain scams to watch out for when you are here in Turkey. And one is, you might have heard about it, is the shoe shine scam in Istanbul, where somebody would drop a brush in front of you or do something real slick, and then you pick it up and be nice, and then they offer you a free shoe shine, and then they try to make you pay for it. We do recommend getting a shoe shine, but somewhere that you feel is legit and you can see they're not tricking people and they're doing stuff like that.
Another way, and it was actually the common way to get more money, is that we order something for only one. For example, like we just wanted a 1 cup of tea or 1 donut. And at the end, they put 2 in the bag, or they give you 2 teas and say, oh, we give you a discount. I give you a discount. I want this much money.
And that's not one occurrence. That's happened several times where we order one thing and then they try to make us pay for 2. It's not that much, but it's more so about the principle than about price. Some people would just say, oh, it's whatever, just pay for it. It's not that much, but it has nothing to do. It's about being scammed. It's about the principle. And no one likes to be scammed. The only people who have negative things to say about people being scammed are the people not being scammed.
It just happened too many times during our stay.
And this is not a Turkey thing. Every country has their certain type of people that scam in these certain type of ways. So don't take this as this is, a scam country, because it's not. Mainly all your interactions are honest and people treat you right and they're not trying to scam you. Through experience of being here for a few months and moving around every few weeks, we're just bringing you the information of what happened to us on these different occasions. So when you're here, you can look out for them yourself. But don't get any bad impressions because, some people are like that. It's in every single place in the world, no matter where you are.
And when you're in Istanbul, you see all these little kids walking around with a bunch of flowers or the roses.
Slip with it. I wanted to buy her a rose, 20 Turkish lira. Then he grabbed another rose, he ripped off all the petals and threw it on her. We didn't ask for him to do that. We wouldn't have asked for him to do that. It's just not something we would really want sitting by the river.
Those kids come around so many times.
We just wanted to help him out because we saw everybody saying no, so we wanted to be nice and help him out. So we bought a rose for 20 lira, and then he took another one, threw it on her, and then he's like 50. So not only did he do another rose that was another 20 lira, he just tacked on another 10 just because. Of course, we didn't give it to him, Some people will say that's a little bit as well, you should have gave it to him. But you got to remember, when you're living around the world, everyone views you as a tourist 24/7. So you might see an isolated incident where someone is trying to cheat us, and it might be a little bit, but you got to imagine if that's happening every single week, almost every day, depending on where you are. If you fell for it or did it just because it wasn't a lot, then you end up paying a lot of money, because it happens all the time. It's not just a one occurrence thing in any country we're in, because everyone always tries to take advantage of tourists, and we can live somewhere for 6 months, but to them, we're still a tourist. Or the other one in Taksim Square, when somebody's being super friendly to you and try to get Turkish tea. I met this guy and he was like, oh, let's get Turkish tea. And we went somewhere, that place was closed, so he ended up taking me to a bar. I ordered a beer, but he ended up bringing these bottles and women and stuff. I honestly still didn't think anything of it, called me naive or maybe dumb or whatever. Then pretty much by the end of the night, and we weren't even there that long, they brought the bill and they were trying to tell me that I owe them 700 USD. I shit you not. And
Had 2 beers, right?
2 beers, and they're saying 700 USD because they had a bottle, him and the 2 girls that were there, and they had a bottle of champagne. And they're telling me that I have to pay for the bottle of champagne the girls drank, and this is a thing that happens all the time over in Taksim Square, and a lot of tourists fall for it. But long story short, they didn't get anything. In fact, they ended up losing money, and I drank for free, because for us, we're very good, moral-hearted people that treat people right, that treat us. But once you start trying to scam us or manipulate us, all morals go out the window. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. We are not that type of tourist. Normally, you end up not getting what you want, but you actually end up losing money. Like in that situation, I would have easily paid for my beers, but since they started to get aggressive and was trying to scam me for hundreds of dollars, it did not work, and they actually didn't get anything, and they lost money.
And he called me in the middle of that argument. I was at home, and I was like, why don't you go grab a cop? It's all over at Taksim Square. Tourist police, they can speak English.
Yeah, I naturally, coming from America, and I was never raised that the cops are on our side. And the cops shown us time and time and time and time and time again that they're not on our side. So when I'm in situations, call the police is not, it's not something that really comes to mind for me, which is sad. I know we're laughing about it, but it's sad to feel that way and say that way, and majority of the time be accurate in that thought process. I was just thinking, I'm about to fight 5 guys. This is gonna happen. When easily I could have just said, let's go get the tourist police. Yeah, do not fall for that. If someone's being super friendly and they're trying to get you to come somewhere,
Just for tea.
just for tea, tell them no thank you.
Yeah.
No thank you. And it's sad because he was a cool guy, and it just really puts a damper on the vibe and your mood or your outlook on people, because you want to be nice to someone being nice to you. But to be nice to people that are being overly friendly, that it sucks to say, but it's a rule of thumb. They're trying to do something slick, and don't fall for it. We met so many wonderful Turkish people, and oh my gosh, just warm-hearted, wholeheartedly there to help. So overall, Turkey is a wonderful place. The people are so awesome and friendly. Their cuisine is extremely delicious and very unique to this part of the world.
This mixed culture of European and Asian is something you cannot feel anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, you won't find it. So it's a one-of-a-kind place to come and visit. And again, please don't be off-put by the negative things that we have brought up. That's just something that happens everywhere. For us, we just feel like it's our job to be informative on the good and the bad. And if you're just hearing the good, it's not accurate and it's not real for us. And we're about being accurate and being honest and being real. So we will tell you the good things, but we will also tell you the bad things.
The Turkey was overall a great place and a huge country to explore.
Massive. make sure that when you do come here, don't just limit yourself to Istanbul, or don't even just limit yourself to Cappadocia, the very famous places. There are a lot of wonderful small communities and towns that are spread across Turkey and just have so much unique, beautiful stuff. So once you're here, try to travel the country, but also communicate with the locals, talk to them, hear about their lives, share stories, and you will not regret it.
We hope that you will have a great time in Turkey as much as we did.
Absolutely. The adventure continues. We are getting ready to head on to our next stop, and we are excited to share more with you guys. Be sure to ask questions, leave comments down below, and we're here to help. We would be thankful and grateful if you liked and subscribed and help support our channel grow. And we love you, man. I swear to God, I love you, bro. Bye. If you're looking for safety or comfort, or that's a bad decision, right? Safety or comfort. So make sure. What were you trying to tell me to talk?
No, it's your turn. All the tourist people want to visit. all the tourists want to visit Taksim. What was I saying?
I don't know. I know you coughed in my face.